Hey y'all, it's Indigo here, coming at you with round 1 of season 16 Grand Arena. This is 5v5 with ships. It's the map, unfortunately, where you put all your squads into one basket. There's no real strategy as far as that goes. You just pick 7, throw them in there, throw some ships in the bottom, and that's that. But today is a special Grand Arena. After weeks of trying to match up and getting our GP almost exactly the same, we finally get a map with ships. So I was able to match up with a guildmate, Darth Kiwi, and we ended up being 7 GP apart. And we ended up matching up, and not only did we match up, we got each other in the first round, which was awesome. So we were hoping that we could match up eventually. He's getting kind of busy and doesn't really have time to play Grand Arena that much. So I coordinated it with him, and we're going to do some testing today and show a little bit of unorthodox counters and teams with some potential. And hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully you'll learn something out of this. And it was definitely fun trying to coordinate these teams. So we're going to get into the battle, and I'll show you what he put down. Now, it's not a surprise. I already know exactly what he put down and exactly what I'm going to use against it. I took some suggestions from comments of previous videos and from my Discord server, and I reached out to a couple friends to see what they thought and if they had any ideas for some matchups I should try. So I got some feedback, and we're going to try a couple interesting things, I think, and see how this goes. You ready? Let's jump into it. So here's the map. First thing we'll do is just go down and knock out his ships. He set his Millennium Falcon as his defensive fleet, and we don't care about that. I just use my Falcon to go against it. Of course, you'll win 99% of the time, so I did. Took it out for 63 banners. Not that it matters, because we're all here to see the ground matchups. So now that we got this out of the way, let's go back to the map, and I'll show you what he's got up top. Alright, here's the good stuff. So he's got his Padme Galactic Republic team, a Grievous team with some droids, a Karth team, you know, the Karth dot team that everybody likes to put down. And then beyond that, he's got a Kira Scoundrels team with Nest. We were going to do Nightsisters with Nest because people wanted to see that with MT lead Nightsisters, but he needed Nest for his Scoundrel team to kind of fatten that up because he didn't have the young Han and young Lando. But I'm kind of glad he put Nest in that team because I think you'll like that matchup when we get to it. Scroll down here. He's got his Darth Revan team with Malik, and I told him to put that one on defense. And we'll keep moving on. He's got his MT-led Nightsisters with Zombie and Acolyte in there. And then he's got his Bounty Hunters, Bosk lead with Jango. So we're going to do the Bounty Hunter matchup first. It's going to be my Bounty Hunters versus his Nightsister. So the way this team works, with Bosk as the lead, he's going to give all the Bounty Hunters 50% tenacity boost and a 50% protection boost. And they all have 100% defense while they have protection. So it makes them pretty tanky. The tenacity boost is going to help as far as resisting the plague. And then every time the enemy resists or gets debuffed by the bounty hunters, then it's going to heal the team up 5% health and protection. So that's it. I mean, they're constantly healing. So even if Plague lands, which it has a hard time doing that through the extra tenacity, it's going to go right away because they're pretty much going to stay close to max health as it is. This team works really great, and a lot of people put them on defense. I know I like to put mine on defense, but it seems like everyone's got these counters kind of dialed in, and they know what to use against your bounty hunters, and they know exactly how they have to play to clean it in one. And we don't want that. You want to put down something tricky that they're going to underestimate, and it's going to take them 2 battles or something. So if you can turn around and use these on offense and find something else a bit trickier to put on defense instead, you know you've got yourself a pretty reliable Nightsister counter. You can see here that once the contract goes off, they're going to get a 50 speed bonus, so that's going to just make them go that much more often and keep up with the speed boost that Nightsisters get. But already my bounty hunters are kind of fast anyway, so this 50 speed bonus is putting everybody, some of them are above 300, some are knocking on the door of 300. So you get to go pretty often, do your thing. You can see that they're just making short work of these Nightsisters. And having Boba and Jango in there, and Jango's unique as Zeta, once they die, they die. So you don't have to worry about zombie reviving for them if you can, if you can pull that off. If not, they do enough damage, you can knock them out quick anyway. So you saw for that 60 banners. It's a great team to finish off and get those perfect banner wins if that's what you need for efficiency. So we're going to go into his next team here. I'm going to show you guys what happens when you do, it's not the best team, but we work with what we got. So he's got the General Grievous team with his droids. And instead of burning CLS on that, I know a lot of people see Grievous and think, I got to use CLS because that's something I know is going to work. And it does, but you want to be able to have options. Now, his wasn't the best, but mine aren't modded for the best either. But you can just look at this team, look at the data that we get out of this testing, and you can see that this team smokes this team. So why not give it a shot? If any of y'all have a chance to test and someone's got Gear 12 Separatist droids, I just went and started with taking out B2 first because he's the one that'll cause the most problems. Once you get rid of him, it's kind of smooth sailing. So made short work of this team. I tried it out in TW against a slightly different team comp, and it seemed to work well. I'm thinking this might be my go-to comp, and then I could save CLS for, something else. Okay, the next matchup we're going to do, this was suggested by a buddy, Endall Beall. If you've seen his channel, he's really good with strategy and trying out different team compositions. And so I reached out to him to get his thoughts on a couple of the teams I should try. And he suggested this. It was taking some Kira Scoundrels in against the enemy Bosk Bounty Hunter squad. And normally I just throw my Scoundrels on defense and don't give them a second thought. I'm definitely no Scoundrel expert, but what the heck, might as well give it a shot and see, because some people like to keep their Scoundrels for offense. So let's see what they can do. Now, Kiwi has only 1 Zeta on his Bosk, so to kind of mimic that, I was trying to stay focused on Bosk as much as I could, because when you have the double Zeta, which a lot of people in my bracket have, you're going to be stuck behind him anyway. So I tried to focus on him as much as I could to kind of mimic that, since I was doing testing anyway. But also, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I said, I don't play this team on offense at all. Anytime I have Vandor and L3, they go straight to defense, and I just like to give my opponent the headache of having to deal with them. But I did have Nest in there, and she does hit kind of hard, and she does power up and, does a good job. She's a great offensive weapon. She does work well on defense in this exact team. I've thrown it on defense and gotten a couple holds. But it seems like with if you had a double Zeta Bosk and got stuck behind the taunt, I could definitely see how this could be a nightmare of a matchup to try to punch through all that extra protection, and then he's just healing it right back every time they, go, because they're going to be landing or you'll be resisting the debuffs. And you can see here, if you watch, that I almost get him down a couple times, get him to red bar, and then the next turn he'll just heal right back up, and you're back to square one. So it's a little bit frustrating because also my Scoundrels aren't modded the best. I need to pay a visit to the Scoundrels server and talk to Clash, because he'll probably show me all the things I'm doing wrong here. I got Nest modded for high tenacity and Vandor for health with very little protection. And those are two things that I learned from Clash's whiteboard videos. You guys should check those out because he's really informative when it comes to Scoundrels, and he can tell you, he probably can watch this video and point out dozens of mistakes that I've made and probably take his Scoundrels in and mop up this team like it's nothing. So maybe he will do this and get some video for us one of these days. But you can see here, I had no luck with Bosk. Every time I get him down to where I think, okay, I got him under his protection, so he doesn't have that defense bonus. Let me put some work in on him. He would just heal right back up and gain protection again and get it right back. So I tried to focus on Django and get out somebody so I can be sure to mop up this team. Right there, you can see I had him all the way down, like one hit away from dying. And I think that would have been the turning point. If I could have gotten rid of him, it would have been so much easier. But I couldn't. And then here we are a few seconds later, and he's back to full health, full protection. So you can see just how stout these bounty hunters are under the Bosk lead. But look at the Scoundrel team. You can see my Scoundrel team, everybody's got full health, full protection. This is a stout team in its own right. Everybody keeps healing up, and Vandor can bring anybody back as long as he's prepared. Except for Cad, because Cad is dark side, not light side, and Vandor can only bring the light side back. But even though Cad's gotten low a little bit, he heals right back up too, so we don't have to worry about this team dying. There's a lot of survivability on both sides, and I was able to get rid of a couple of his bounty hunters, but I just ended up timing out there. I think if the battle would have went on, longer, of course, or I knew what I was doing with the moves better, I think that it could work. There's definitely a lot of potential here. You can see just how stout both of these teams are. And if you go in with a strategy and know what you're doing, I honestly think it could work. But in this situation, I would just use something like my Imperial Troopers anyway, because there are better counters to this team. I like to find things that work just so you have options, but there's definitely other tools in the toolbox that you could use that would make life so much easier against this bounty hunter team. I don't really think you need to take in Scoundrels. I think there's other teams that Scoundrels would work well against that wouldn't be such a long, drawn-out matchup. So let me clean up these bounty hunters, and then we'll show you guys what the next testing matchup is. Alright, so I'm just going in with my Imperial Troopers to mop up this mess I have left with the Bounty Hunters. So now we know Scoundrels can work if you know what you're doing and you have them modded correctly. I think they definitely could get the job done. I just didn't know what I was doing, and I'm sure I don't have them modded correctly. But Imperial Troopers definitely do work if you have those set correctly. The next matchup is a General Grievous team against his Galactic Republic team. This was something that Endall Beall also suggested because he thought it would make a good matchup, I guess. I don't really ever use my Grievous team on offense. Again, this is just another one that I like to throw on defense. You'll notice there's no Droidica and there's no B1. And he said, oh, you should really use those even if they're low gear, low star. I don't even have those activated. Like, I don't have the Zetas to spare for them at the moment, and I don't have the extra gear for them at the moment. So I didn't even bother activating those. You know, got to keep that GP down until it's time. So what I do here with the Separatists and Droids is go straight after Padme. She's the key to the Galactic Republic team. And so if your opponent does put them on defense, and he picked a good comp for defense, Kiwi put down his Padme. He's got Anakin there, got Ahsoka, and then Zaris, and he also put C-3PO. And I've heard that Zaris and C-3PO kind of make this team a little bit harder than other comps without. So it was good that he picked those. Again, I'm still focusing on Padme. Got her down, and once she goes, this team becomes a hell of a lot easier because she's the primary source of protection up. And once those go, you know, then you don't have to worry about not being able to debuff the team. Next, I'm working on Anakin. He's going to be the main damage dealer for the squad, so you want to try and get him out. You can see that Zaris kept kind of healing him up through her unique, but was able to get him out anyway. Grievous hits really hard. He actually does a pretty good job, and I don't have his lead Zeta. I don't have B2 Zeta. I don't have a Zeta on Dooku. The only Zeta I have on this squad is General Grievous's unique, and I got that for the Padme event. Now you can see it's down to just Zaris and C-3PO, and Grievous puts in work. When he hits, he hits hard. So was able to get rid of her even though we lost one. Got a 50 banner win out of that. So not too bad. They can't recover health and protection good like some other squads can. But, you know, it's definitely an option, I guess, if you have them. That's how they perform against Galactic Republic. Okay, this next matchup is pretty interesting. When I was looking for ideas for matchups, I went to T-Money from the Operation Metaverse server and channel. I'm sure you guys have seen them. They do a lot of strategy and test out some interesting things. And she suggested that I try Ewoks versus his Karth team. I said, well, okay, I'll give it a shot. You know, Ewoks can take out bounty hunters. They can take out First Order. Let's see how they do against this Karth team. And I've never tried this team before and have no faith in it whatsoever. So we're just going to see how it goes. Now, my Ewoks aren't geared the best or modded the best. I've got, I think, Gear 12 Elder and Gear 12 Wicket. And I have a Zeta on, which ones are you supposed to have the Zeta on? Chirpa Lead. And then I have a Zeta on Wicket. And those are the only two Zetas I have. And the rest are Gear 11. They're definitely not modded correctly. But, you know, we'll give it a shot anyway. So they just got rid of Karth there. Already they're making progress. They just hit so weakly, it seems like you're just thinking Ewoks, what are they going to do? You know, they barely can do any damage. But they get so much turn meter from the abilities and so many assists and buffs and things that they actually can do pretty well. I mean, they can already take out bounty hunters, and they can take out First Order, and they can take out some other weaker squads. So why not try them out against a Karth dot team? And since I was doing testing this round, I mean, it seems like the perfect time to try out the squad, you know, see what they can do. Now, he does have the Zeta on Karth lead. He's got the Zeta on mission, and he does also have the Zeta on Zalbar. So I was able to get rid of Canderous there. Now I just have Mission, Z, and Juhani. And Juhani's stealth at the moment. Trying to get through Zalbar's protection is a bit of a pain. And then every time he goes, he regenerates protection. So you got to constantly work at that. You can't really focus on anyone else because I guess when they drop under 100% or whatever, then Zalbar will gain taunt. So you got to deal with that. And you do lose Ewoks. Like you can see I lost one there, Paplu, but get him back. The thing that sucks is Armor Shred will stay on him. So you got to kind of be wary of that. You can see that he was revived. And when he came back, he automatically had that Armor Shred debuff on him already. So they do keep it to the end of the encounter, not just until death. Keep working on Zalbar, but it is difficult with his protection up and mission doing some heavy damage. Down to 3 Ewoks now, but as long as Elder's still alive, you always got the chance to bring your team back. He's a nice healer, and the fact that he can revive is pretty great. Almost lost him right there. He's down to the red, and Days, I think Days ends up hurting because then you don't get all the assists in. You know, I was able to get rid of Juhani there. Now it's just Zalbar and Mission. So going to work on them. I got to keep constantly like reading what the abilities do because I'm not real practiced in using Ewoks as a counter. I think if I kind of knew what I was doing, maybe it would go a little bit better. You can see that I was able to revive my team even though Paplu keeps dying. You can keep bringing him back as long as Elder stays alive. So that's what you got to try and do is keep Elder alive. That way, no matter who dies, you can keep bringing him back. I threw it on auto just because I figured maybe the auto would play a little bit better than me, and there was no way I was going to make it in time. You know, I was under the clock, always danger of running out of time. But in this case, I think it was the Zeta on Zalbar where he gains protection back that just kind of did me in. I think without that Zeta on the team, I would have had a much better shot. But there are some Ewok experts out there that know what they're doing and could probably pull this off even with the 3 Zetas on the Karth team. There's one guy that I know that's, in my mind, a pro with the Ewoks. Klesso, if you're watching this video, I expect you to make an Ewok video countering the Karth team. This dude's crazy, and he uses his Ewoks for everything. So I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to give us a video of Ewoks just ripping through a Karth team like nothing. So if you're out there, bud, let's see what you can do. Okay, we're going to circle back to this mess in a minute. We'll clean those 2 up later. But the next one I wanted to go against is his Scoundrel team with Nest. And we're going to use Rex Wampa. I just wanted to include this in there for Darth Kiwi. A while back in chat, he was talking about using the Rex Wampa team, and it auto-corrected. and came out Texas Wampa. So we all had a good laugh on him, and one of our guys in our guild's an artist, and he came up with this for us. So quick shout out to Texas Wampa. We're going to go rock and roll on this Scoundrels team with our Texas Wampa here. It is Rex, Wampa, Hermit Yoda, and then I put 2 tanks in, Storm, and then K2. And the reason you want the tanks in is because you need that survivability for them to be able to soak up some damage while your Wampa can power up. You got to really have Wampa powered up to be able to punch through Nest and to do the kind of damage you need to do to get rid of L3 with her heavy defense, especially if she gets to put up the MK2 and 3 or whatever with her last special and get the extra defense. And it's a tank team. Everybody is pretty stout. Vandor, you got Stormtrooper Han, you got L3 there. I mean, Kira's like the weakest link, but you're going to have a hard time getting to her. So I'm working on L3. Vandor is there, but you just got to hope that you can kill L3 off a couple times and do it when he loses prepared or when he's not prepared. That way you can go work on Vandor. And it does take a minute, but you guys should watch this footage because this is actually a pretty decent team. You don't necessarily have to say, oh, he's got Nest in there, I need to use my Sith trio, I need to go in with the triumvirate to take this team out. That's not necessarily the case. And these ones aren't all modded to be the best. I mean, Wampa's got some crit damage on him, but I've had to steal a lot of his mods for other characters that I'm working on. But crit damage, and if you got extra offense, that's what he needs, because really it's his counterattacks that'll do the work. I threw Master's Training on him first. Now I know that a Rex Wampa team, and if you throw Nest in there, that it Rex Wampa and Nest with Hermit Yoda and 1 tank will be able to get the job done and tear through this team. But I didn't have Nest because I used her in my Scoundrels team. So we got to roll with what we got. And I really wanted to test this out. You know, Wampa can hit hard once he's powered up enough. So if you can mod him decently and power him up long enough, then he can start knocking everybody down, you know, in 1 counterattack, which is what we want. So I'm working on L3, knock her out finally, and Vandor doesn't bring her back. He doesn't have his prepared, so we can finally get at him. Just trying to use the big attacks, get him before he gets the prepared or anything else happens, you know, before Stormtrooper Han taunts. And you can see 1 hit just knocks out all of his protection. And now we're going to go to work on his health. Once Wampa gets to go, you know, he hits hard now, so throw the days up and give Wampa protection up. Now we can do the dog pile. There, got rid of Vandor. It makes the job a little bit easier. You can see the clock's getting kind of low, so we gotta get our hustle on. But there went ST Han. Now Kira, she's pretty squishy, so 1 counterattack from Wampa will get it done there. Power up again. Now, the danger with this team is Nest. By now, Nest is kind of powered up, and she can hit pretty hard. We just got to watch out and hope that one of Wampa's hits will hit Nest at the right time and basically just one-shot her when she doesn't have all that bonus protection. So try and daze her so she doesn't counterattack. There she goes, Wampa counterattacks. You see, get her down to just health without protection. Got her down to yellow, but she heals right back up. But the good thing is we are putting down dots with Wampa's basic, and Wampa hits hard enough that he was able to knock her out. So you don't necessarily need a Sith trio and Nihilus and Traya to take out a nest. You can do it with Rex Wampa if you have your team set right. So we're going to go against the Darth Revan team. He set Darth Revan with Malak, and this is a counter from the folks over at Operation Metaverse. They did a video on it last week, I believe, with Jedi Knight Revan, and then Thrawn as your 5th. And so you can check out their video to see exactly how it all works. But basically you want to use Revan's dogpile against Darth Revan to increase his cooldowns, and then you want to fracture Darth Revan with your Thrawn. And then after you do that, you got to use basic the next few times so that you can get Darth Revan's health down to where he doesn't have any protection and he's got maybe 3/4 of a health bar. Then you send Bastilla her buffs over to Grandmaster Yoda and have him hit Sith Trooper, because if you aim at Darth Revan, he won't do the assist attack. So once he has the buffs and the turn meter, you can use his special and boom, you can knock him out. Once you knock him out, the run gets a little bit easier, but you still got to be careful, because if you don't have your speeds right, you know, you'll be stuck behind Sith Trooper's taunt and not be able to focus on who you want, which we're going after Darkside Bastilla right here. And if we can get her out, the run goes so much smoother. So got rid of her. Now the next biggest threat is HK, because he can turn around and one-shot you. You got to watch out for him. But you do have to watch out for Malak doing his drain life thing. So we try and stun him if you can. If you've got Bastilla's special where she can stun, try to do that on Malak and take him out of the picture for the moment. We got rid of Sith Trooper. Now just trying to put some damage into HK before he does his assassinate or whatever, where he'll one-shot whoever he feels like. Got to watch out because Thrawn is low because of Malak's drain life. You don't want to be doing the AoE attacks with Yoda, because if you end up critting Malak, then he'll fear you and then you'll lose out on your turn. So try to stay away from those. I just focus with either the basic or his special or the assist attacks when we start going after Malak. HK keeps healing up, but we're able to take him down there, fracture Malak, so that helps us out a little bit. And then it's just a matter of, you know, now we can use the AoE attacks, who cares? Just trying to get him down. But even at red bar, he's like so sturdy, you know. But we're able to take him out there and didn't lose the team. Sometimes that team can go south real quick, but we're able to do it. And all that's left to do is just clean up the mess of Zalbar Mission. So I just send in Galactic Republic. It doesn't really matter who you send in. There was nothing else I could really test against just the two of these. So I just sent them in to clean it up and be done. So that's that. Cleaned up that team. Cleared the board. Not that it matters. I already told him if he does have time to attack, he's welcome to attack and clear my board. I'm sure he would do it all in one shot and do a much better job since I lost a couple. But I hope this was helpful and that you guys got to, you know, see some different teams that you normally don't see on these matchups. And maybe it'll give you some ideas and maybe you can say, hey, I think I can pull this team off. I think my Ewoks will take out a Karthot squad. I think my Scoundrels are strong enough to take out a Bosk Bounty Hunter team and try that, you know. Hopefully it's been a learning experience. I know I had a lot of fun with this matchup. So we'll catch you guys in the next round. Shout out to my buddy Mikayas. He runs a modding service. He'll go through, make sure you got the right squad compositions and the right mods on the right characters. Give your account a real nice tune-up. I'll put the link to his Discord in my description. Go ahead and check him out. Tell him Indigo sent you. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share your comments down below, and hopefully you'll check out my other videos on my channel. Peace.